Good evening, Clashers and Clashettes. Happy Monday.
Yay.
Coming to you live from NGE Studios here in beautiful Burbank, California. This is the official Supercell Clash Royale North American Opens. Representing Frozen Peak with the new legendary, I'm Christian.
And Builders Workshop, I'm Ella.
And today we are bringing you yet again the greatest Clash Royale duels you could find on the internet right now. You couldn't even, you gotta, this is what
Google
you get.
Google it, and this comes up.
Yeah, this is here.
Yeah, so over the past few weeks, hundreds of thousands of players at home have been competing in our open qualifiers, which we're going on all day today, to come to days like tonight, the Coronation event. 16 lucky people will move on to our arena battles, where then 8 will move on to the crown duels, and one amazingly talented, awesome player will win $15,000 out of a $100,000 prize pool and a trip to Supercell HQ.
Basically the Bobby Fishers of our time. That is what we are seeing here.
So great.
Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, this is Coronation Day number 10. We're at number 10 already.
Yeah.
Number 9 was just a few hours ago. Thank you all for watching this. Top 8 players now. We have 8 and more, and they are playing for first place, $2,000. Second place, $500. Third and fourth, $300. And fifth through 8th, $100 each. Now, before we take a look at who those 8 are, just a quick reminder of the rules here. Here at the Clash Royale North American Open, we run the standard tournament cap with the double deck submission. Each player must submit 2 unique decks to us, and by unique, we mean each deck is at least 4 cards different. To move on, it is very, very simple. As you all know, you just gotta beat your opponents with both of your decks before they beat you with theirs, and boom, you're one step closer to the top. Really, I mean, this was like, anyone can do it. No, not anyone can do it. These guys can do it. So let's take a look at who these guys are tonight. Up first, we have Mr. Manzav versus Asopa.
Then EPRu versus Middle Sky.
Third is Marcel P versus Chief J.
And Fediwap versus T-Bone.
That's right, a lot of returning players here. I think it's 7 returning players, just 1 new one. So let's go over to the couch. We have 2 gentlemen here who can help us out deciphering all.
EPRu makes his 3rd top 8 in a row.
That's
consecutively.
Right. Congrats.
Back
That's
again.
Huge.
Same decks as always, big Goblin Barrel player. And actually, we have 2 Goblins, the most innovative deck we've seen in today's tournament.
I'm interested to see how that works out.
We got double skeleton. We got a skeleton army and a graveyard in Middle Sky's giant deck, and he's actually opening up with it, so we're gonna get to see it here in game 1.
Let us know who you think is gonna take it in the chat. Middle Sky or EPRu?
Genesis, Middle Sky is from. Is that a pretty well-known clan?
You know, actually, Genesis was one of the most prominent clans very early in the game's tournament scene. I mean early, like, we're talking March, April of this year. Genesis was one of the first, you know, before Takeover, before Clout, before a lot of these were established. Genesis was a really big one.
Oh my god! Oh no! The graveyard was too much. EPRu refused to play additional elixir to stop it, and the 2 minions that were left over from the minion horde just abandoned duty. Ended up being really effective in terms of a drop miner. Goblin Barrel is actually a very strong combo, and as you can see, did about 500 damage to that tower. I would say decent.
That's a clinic on abandoning. You know, I'll see how much damage this card does. I'm sure it's not too much. Well, Graveyard can take your tower down to half health, and that Goblin Barrel, even if you log it, it's still doing about 20% of your tower.
Yeah, exactly. Giant, doesn't get a punch. Wow, and that's really the trade-off. Can you get away with throwing Minor Goblin Barrel, 2 cards that does not remove anything off the board if played well? Can you get away with defending a push? And the Giant didn't get a single swing, and I think EPRu made a good decision.
Yeah, having both Skeleton Army and Graveyard is such a good double hitter here, because if they use one of their log answers, you know that they don't have an answer for the other card.
Uh-oh. Did he miss that log?
Oh, he did. I think that was an accidental cast.
Wow. Princess is gonna live.
Still, the Giant does a lot of swings, and EPRu must find the way to convert the Princess into something useful. Punish the mistake.
Yeah, that's the 2nd time in 2 games that we've seen a failed log not actually matter too much.
There's the mind game. He has a tank. He waited so long for that zap. But still, the miner is going to get another 500 damage unanswered. And so this time, it's actually, compared to the first Goblin Barrel, a better one, because Middle Sky had to spend the zap, but still took 500 damage.
Yeah, early Inferno Tower. Ooh, Graveyard to answer. Now, watch this. These skeletons are going to start popping up and distracting the Inferno Tower in every direction, maybe except for locking on the Giant. Even when it does, the Giant's so close already.
Yeah. The Minion Horde did a really, really, really good job stopping that Graveyard. Killed enough skeletons that finally the Inferno Tower locked on the Giant, as well as, despite the fact that the Minion Horde was zapped out, does not make a difference against Mega Minion, because it's still just one shot to kill them.
For my money, Minion Horde's probably the best card. Wow, that was not a really good Inferno Tower. Unfortunately, good thing for him is the tower's not going to go down in the next 5 seconds or so, although it's going to get kind of close.
Oh,
wow.
Launching the Goblin Barrel, but just not close enough. And there it is. Middle Sky going to pick up his first victory here in the Clash Royale North American Opens. One more game, and he's going on to the semifinals.
That's a cool deck. I'm going to try this one later. I mean, the double whammy of Graveyard and Skeleton Army really makes it hard for your opponent unless they're running Zap and Log and Arrows to stop all that.
So, talking about the miss log, do you think it's just a very... Was that just simply a miss swipe, a miss click on his finger?
Twice in a row.
I think what he was expecting was for the Princess to shoot the Fire Spirits and then start walking back towards the river, but at the steady pacing of more cards, the Princess would just keep finding new targets to lock on and would stood in place. I think it was probably a misclick on the first one at least, but the second one, you're right, seems like it might have been a pattern.
All right, now if you're EPRu, Rainey, are you going to bring the same deck again against what Middle Sky is going to bring, or are you going to switch it up?
I would say, for the sake of extending your life in the tournament, switch it up first. I think there is a way to win with the Goblin Barrel deck, but you need to play a little more conservatively. I really like the fact that he was throwing 5 Elixir to do big damage to the tower, or rather 6, I believe. It's 3 and 3, Miner 3, Goblin Barrel 3.
Yeah.
I actually really like that, but 6 Elixir is the same as a rocket, right? So you need to make sure that you are in the advantage, or you know that there's no counterattack, which is why I mentioned that the first time he threw it out there, the fact that he defended the Giant means that, okay, you can get away with this. But do it again, every time you throw out that Elixir, you need to make sure that you can actually take what's coming.
Yeah. I think EPRu should stick with the Goblin Barrel deck because he's going up against a Golem here, or is going up against a Golem deck, and his other deck is Golem. So if it's Golem on Golem, kind of a coin flip in a lot of ways, unless you're really confident in that matchup. Whereas here, you might be able to outplay your opponent.
And also, again, we've been seeing these Golem decks. If your opponent's running Golem, it really is so crucial to take them down before overtime. Because if you do, you got it. If not, it's probably going to go in their favor.
Well timed by Middle Sky, throwing the log early, making sure the Goblins did not get a single swing. But if EPRu is smart, he should have identified that Middle Sky is throwing his log early.
I think this is a pretty good play here at the Inferno Tower. Normally you're worried about maybe playing it too early and not having it in cycle, but EPRu's deck is so cheap, so low cost, that he should be able to get back to the Inferno Tower by the time this Golem gets across the river.
Wow, they get 2 big swings, and look at how much damage that was. A big punish and get some splash on the Mega Minion. This means that the Mega Minion will absolutely not make it to that tower.
Minion Horde is just, again, second time in a row we've seen this card, just tears up tanks.
And Log is unfortunately not going to do anything to that in the sky, so Middle Sky is holding his Log, but not too much to do with it against the enemy Minion Horde.
Still a very dangerous push. You need some kind of tech. He's going to use Skeleton Army to mitigate the damage from the archers, but this is buying Middle Sky back into the game, essentially. Log is played, so there needs to be some kind of punish for EPRu. He's going to play the Princess first, but I believe Minor Goblin Barrel is the next set of cards that he should play as a response.
Should rename that to Buff Dragon.
Nicely done, Baby Dragon. You growing up.
You can't control me anymore, Dad!
What do all the damage to the tower I want?
I think you might just let this Mega Minion on the side there go. It's only going to swing maybe twice, and that tower has so much...
It's a mind game.
Oh, I love how you know it. Oh, it's great.
Oh, and look at that, it dodges the Ice Golem! The Ice Golem was played to absorb the Goblins, but because they were so far away, the Ice Golem walked out of range, allowing them to actually get a hit on the tower.
Now, again, baton has been passed, Golem can be played. How does EPRu play out of this situation? It's so important. Every single elixir he commits to this board needs to eventually stop that Golem from pushing his tower down, or he needs to trade towers. Even if he does trade towers, he needs to make sure he doesn't get 3 crowns, so defense here for EPRu is going to be absolutely the most important thing for him.
Skeleton Army against archers is a pretty hard play there because each archer will one-hit a skeleton, so they're killing stuff as soon as it comes out. Manages, though, to get him with the Minion Horde, and looks like their Middle Sky might be out of answers for this Minion Horde.
I actually like River Golem at this point because there's no way that you can start another big push in 30 seconds with Golem, but I think that EPRu might have done it, and Rumham, you're right. Against the Golem deck, I actually feel like this Goblin Barrel deck was able to set the pace a little bit better, put options into EPRu's hand rather than waiting for Doom.
Yeah, I think that's maybe the best, because it has a lot of good ways to punish. I think that's the important thing about it, is it can not only punish when you're out of answers, but it can punish you when you're low on elixir. So there's sort of a double whammy of Middle Sky has to get a golem on the board without getting completely crushed by Goblin Barrel Miner, and on top of that, he's got to really watch his log usage and not just throw it away. We see log used on archers a lot. You have to resist that urge, like don't log the archers and other things, because you're going to need that against the incoming Goblin Barrel, Skeleton Army, all that kind of stuff. But now, game 3, it's going to be a golem mirror.
It's a mirror mashup. One thing I like is the minion horde in that deck for, was it EPRu who brought that? It's, like you said, log doesn't affect it. It's a card that, you know, if you fireball it, I guess you get a positive trade there, but usually people do that on the cycles for the towers. What cards are people using that are now? I guess Furnace is a really good counter to it. Is there anything else really in the meta right now that is a good counter to minion horde?
Maybe arrows. There are some cases where I think you could argue grabbing arrows. Not so much recently, but when Lava Hound was more prevalent, definitely arrows is a choice that you would take. Right now, since a lot of people are playing Giant Bowler and Golem Baby Dragon, arrows is not as relevant, especially when everybody's running Mega Minion as their chief card rather than Minion Horde. There aren't too many options. I mean, if you're trying to weigh your risks, you would rather risk it on a card for something like Mega Minion, where you know pretty much every deck has, rather than Minion Horde, which is effective, but very rare.
Yeah, and because tournament level Zap doesn't kill Minion Horde, right?
No. Ella, what do you think counters Minion Horde? What's your favorite card? Princess! Yes! Your twin, your sister!
I was like,
it's your favorite card!
You need to better your impressions because I didn't get that one.
Oh, it's our arrow! Yeah. You're shooting arrows in the sky.
Hey, I saw.
It's okay. You're still...
It's okay. It's a legendary that is
still
not
having to buy it
reach.
from the shop.
Differentiate from the princess and the archer?
It's because I look so much like a princess. That was the problem. My impressions aren't so strong there.
Well, there it is, guys. Middle Sky and EPRu one game away from moving on to the semifinals. Who is it going to be? Golem mirror matchup. This is the mind game. It's time for the outplay.
Ooh.
Oh,
early
big lightning. Yeah. I think that there's not really going to be an opportunity for EPRu to punish that. I mean, he has an archer on the table.
And that makes sense, right? We especially know early on you're never going to see really aggressive golem pushes, and maybe we thought, like, I'll just get some damage on the tower early because this might come down to a late lightning, and I'd rather have cast it in the first 20 seconds than be racing at the end.
The river golem is a sighting for the last minute of the game rather than the opening moments.
Middle Sky, I don't know if he meant to play the tombstone that direction or if they were just cast at the same time, the tombstone and the golem, right? But I think you almost always are going to want your tombstone pointing in the direction of the enemy golem because you want those skeletons to build up.
Yep, only now do the skeletons retarget themselves onto the thing, and I think the tombstone's down,
Oh, wow.
That golem's going to make it to the tower. Ooh. Yeah.
Baby Dragon meets at the river and decides to fight those archers off. Baby Dragon, I mean, as archers have become a very popular support card, Baby Dragon has also become very popular because of how good they are against archers. Only 2 spits to take down a whole squad.
Now, was it because of that early lightning by Middle Sky that EPRu was able to get that damage on the tower? Was that kind of the trade?
Yeah, well...
Quite possibly. I think some of it is line of play. Also,
I think it was
remember that the tombstone went the wrong direction as well. So.
Watch how much damage this is going to take just from these like kind of scrubby amount of skeletons. Even with the archers helping out, it does a good 10-15% to them, which isn't bad at all. Wow.
Another tombstone added to the mix is really gonna. The timing's good.
That thing, I don't think it's going to blow up on the tower.
Ah! Oh, that was close.
But it's close enough to get some damage in there.
Yep. And there's no opportunity for EPRu to really play a golem as a counter push, though I think Middle Sky playing that golem so close to his tower is a little bit questionable. EPRu actually calls his bluff and plays the golem in the face of the push.
Yeah. And blocking the baby dragon. Oh, wow.
That explains everything. That really does explain everything. Log is not on the table either, so that golem gets taken down. Meanwhile, there's Log for EPRu, and I think he's won out this situation. I mean, archers do good damage, but not good enough to stop this golem from getting a single swing and exploding.
I think Middle Sky is going on tilt right now. That River Golem was not very good. There were so many support troops already there that you just gave away a lot of elixir, and I think he was doing that trying to block it, but...
Yeah, EPRu, I think, has played out the situation perfectly.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, EPRu is going to play a golem in front of his tower this time. How do you clear the board? And it's going to be lightning. Only 1 archer remains.
There's got to be something better than a golem right there. I think you'd rather have the tombstone. Maybe you didn't have it. It's like, oh, no, it didn't pull.
No, it got pushed to the side by the other golem. So Middle Sky's golem was actually too fat. It pushed EPRU's golem to the right and gave it a straight shot at the tower. Really have to be careful with your positioning. That tombstone placement is on the very edge of what is acceptable in terms of pulling. The unit coming across the bridge has to be center place or on the left end of that bridge to be able to be attracted to that tombstone. Instead, because that fat golem that Middle Sky played pushed the other golem to the right edge of the map, and
EPRu 3 times in a row, top 8, and here he is, moving on to the semifinals.
Congrats.
We're gonna have a Goblin Barrel mirror match in the next round.
that's gonna be crazy.
Rainy's gonna have to get cooled down. We're gonna put ice packs on.
Yeah,
I feel like the studio is a little hotter than normal today. I'm feeling a little.
Middle Sky, congratulations for making it here to the top 8, but you are not good enough tonight to move on to the semifinals. Congratulations, EPRu. Let's pull up our first replay here.
Goblin barrels.
Yeah, you can see that this opening moment for Goblin Barrel is put square on the tower because he knows that there's no spells ready to punish. Put them straight on the tower, get the Goblin stabbing as soon as possible, get a ton of damage for it.
Oh, and that was just caught him right off guard. The archers had just been played to back up the golem, and that left no archers to cheaply defend the tower and shoot down the goblins, and that tower gets knocked right out.
Yeah, that golem is too fat, pushes the blue golem to the right, and gives him a straight shot to the tower, and that's it.
I don't want to blame it too much on that tombstone placement. Like, yeah, that was a bad tombstone, and I think he ended up losing the game, but I think he was already kind of deep in an elixir hole, deep in a tempo hole. EPRu had control of the game, of the pace of the game at that point, and it was just a matter of time before Middle Sky's tower went down. Yeah. That tombstone was just the straw that broke the golem's back.
The fat golem.
Whenever is a river golem? Because we've seen people play river golem. It's a great success. When is that? What situation has to be present for that to be actually acceptable?
So River Golem is really great if you know your opponent has to make a decision between committing Elixir to one lane or the other. I think River Golem is one of those things where, for example, if your opponent, you know that he only has about 3 Elixir to play around, Archers or just a Tombstone is actually not a great answer to a straight Golem being played, because if you play Tombstone, it's easy enough for your opponent to regenerate enough Elixir to have the log, and then you have the problem of having maybe a half-health Golem pushing onto your tower. If you just play Archers, they actually just don't do enough damage to stop the Golem, and so the Golem just walks up to the tower and is able to take it down. The fact that you play at the river just means you give your opponent the least amount of time possible to regenerate Elixir to handle the push. When you threaten them on 2 ends, make sure that they have to consider playing Elixir on one side while also trying to consider playing Elixir for the Golem. You force them to make a decision. What do I give up?
Okay. Well,
good. No. I was saying the easy thing to think about is basically, are there support troops already there defending? The reason why that River Golem was deadly for Middle Sky was that there were already archers and baby dragons and mega minions still alive on the enemy side. So the Golem just walks right into taking a bunch of damage. If there's nothing there, then I think you can play a River Golem. If there is defense, no sir.
All right.
Okay, let's see our bracket thus far for tonight. What's been happening? Who's up next? What do you think is gonna go down?
I'm so excited to see the 2 E-named players fight out with Goblin Barrels.
Hey, I could be one of them.
You could be right there. You just have to play Goblin Barrel. I would be happy to build you a Goblin Barrel deck.
Please do.
Just make sure you get a miner first.
I hope that they match up. Like, the worst case scenario in my head is that we've ever had 2 Goblin Barrel decks play each other in the North American Open. Normally there's one rogue barrel throwing player, and now we got 2.
I love it. I'm so excited. So which E player should I root for? Because, you know, E, that's my name.
Yeah.
I usually you only have one E player, and you just root for the one E player. Now I'm so torn.
I think you got to go for Ahsoka, because he's got your Hog Rider.
Yeah,
the log that you want so badly is in that deck, and his other deck has the princess.
Yeah. It's exactly.
Okay, you won me over there.
So now a question, like you were hoping that we see the Goblin Barrel mirror off against each other, right? Because it technically could not happen, but we're really hoping it does happen.
Yes.
If that does happen, I mean, what's it really going to come down to? Is it the first Goblin Barrel with the first damage is technically just going to win because eventually they'll take it in the long run, or?
Patience. It's a virtue that brings its own Crown Tower wins. They're actually playing 8-card exact decks, as you just saw, so it's really going to come down to, like, if you ever get caught without a log, done.
That's damage.
Both of them have minion horde and no arrows, so you're either going to have to fireball or princess each other's minion horde. Interesting. Yeah, so that'll be kind of. What do you think, Rain? Rainey's a much more experienced Goblin Barrel player than I am.
The king.
I actually think that the Goblin Barrel in the mirror match will not be the biggest card to be played. I actually think that the the cards that you will see being most effective are going to be things like the Princess, the Minion Horde, because people will have to respect the Goblin Barrel so much, but if you spend your resources taking down the Goblin Barrel, then the Princess, the Minion Horde, these are the cards that really get to cash in.
Well, already it's Golem up top for the red player. We do have, though, the Goblin Barrel deck down below. So the key here is Ahsoka. Well, actually, for our sake, we might be rooting for EPRu.
Yeah.
But if Ahsoka, who is looking to win every game he can, is going to try to punish any Goblin or any Golem plays as soon as they come out.
Nice long there.
We saw this in his earlier matches, too. The reason why you would go with the early Inferno Tower is that you know a Golem's not coming down anytime soon, unless we see a River Golem or something.
Defense.
So this Princess is going to be the first free to walk around without a log to remove it. Ooh. And Mega Minion is going to be the card utilized. That means that EPRu is down a Mega Minion, essentially.
One swing.
One of the few things that you can actually take and not... It's good to know. You can take one Princess shot with your Mega Minion and it'll still threaten the tower and do a little bit.
Miner pops up in the middle position. Baby Dragon is actually well positioned.
Oh, it didn't hit the Baby Dragon. Oh, the
shadow.
The shadow. I gotta aim for the shadow.
I've learned so much because of that. Thank you so much. On the ladder now I know where to hit flying units.
You can actually see, because even though the Baby Dragon looks like it's further back, you see the shadow is only about 2 to 3 squares off of the tower, and that's actually where it was. That fireball looked like it was going to be a ton of value hitting the Baby Dragon tombstone and both archers. Turns out it only got the archers and the tombstone. Still a good fireball, but the Baby Dragon runs free.
There's a log. I actually think the response here is to play Princess at the river, just to make sure that you get some damage onto the tower, but he's going to play Princess to defend.
Right, and that'll keep the Mega Minion from getting any damage on the tower, unless you get lightning, of course.
Unless that happens.
It's such a tough situation because you want to make sure that you get damage on the tower somehow. Goblin Barrel is not going to do that very consistently for you because you know your opponent is going to respect that option. And so you need to find some way to get your other cards to actually make it through and put numbers onto the tower, because that's what wins you the game. I said that statement so many times, and it's because it's the most important thing right now.
The miner, I know we're already kind of going back to the last push, but that miner in the front left corner was not an accident. He wanted to play that miner forward on the tower instead of behind to draw any archers, baby dragons, anything like that to turn around and hit the miner to let the minion horde go free.
Well, we're now in double elixir time here, and that's when Golem shines.
And here's another Inferno Tower just in the nick of time.
Away from lightning range, I believe, the Skeleton Army is going to do a pretty good job. No, but it gets logged away. Archers are actually contributing to that push. That's a very, very healthy Golem, and lightning's going to remove it. Minion Horde? No, it's not going to kill the... the log? No, but the minions have already given up on it. The log was just a little bit too late, and I think that might be the end of the game for Ahsoka.
Because remember, Golemites do explosion damage on their own, so unless this goes down
EPRu picking up the first victory of our semifinals here. One more game, and he's moving on to the finals.
That's actually, you know what I just noticed? In that push...
That's what we wanted.
EPRu...
Bad news, bad news for Ahsoka, good news for us, because we might see the Goblin Barrel mirror.
EPRu actually spent the log to eliminate the skeletons, the skeleton army that was on the Golem. I actually think there might have been a world where Ahsoka could have played off a win by spending 6 elixir and playing Minor Goblin Barrel as a response while the Golem is dilly-dallying in the middle of the map, take down the tower in overtime. Yeah. And I think that might have been a winning situation. It's very risky, of course, and I'm not sure what EPRu had in hand.
Yeah, he ended up going with the Minion Horde because he thought that he could maybe kill the Golem successfully. But you're right, the archers, the Baby Dragon actually came down and not only pulled some of the minions away, but also it's pretty good against minions with the area of effect spit damage. Only a few minions tagged onto the Golem, and it wasn't enough to burn it down. And by the time it got to the tower, in hindsight, yeah, maybe going all in would have worked. They would have traded towers, gone into overtime, and who knows what could happen.
What kind of deck would Ahsoka's deck really be good against?
Goblin Barrels. What is Goblin Barrel really good against?
It's actually pretty decent against Golem decks. I think he was never really in control of the tempo of the game. Normally you want to be really quickly attacking. Those logs on all those early Goblin Barrels are really tough.
Shut it down.
Yeah, and you're also falling behind an elixir when that happens.
Oh. Yes! Wow, we've got it! There it is!
The Skeleton Army is actually a pretty good defense, and that log is actually off the table. Ooh, Princess is going to do, but you can win the Princess duel here.
I think they might kill each other. Oh, it does get
just in the nick
The way
of
to
time.
tell is if the other princess shoots before the first arrow hits her. That's how you know.
This is going to be a big test of strength here. Who knows their mirror matchup better? Who knows their own deck's weaknesses a little better? The Skeleton Army is going to be really effective against both Miner and the Goblin Barrels, so using those effectively, avoiding the logs, all very important.
Wow. All right, so now we have mirror matchups here with Goblin Barrels. Are we going to see way more mind games, or are these?
He's trying to predict the Skeleton Army, but does not place. So the big thing is Fireball actually has a limited range, and so it's very difficult to eliminate the entirety of the Skeleton Army. But still, a lot of damage put onto that left side tower. EPRu is really playing well.
If Princess is guarded.
If you pre-log your Goblin Barrel, will the log actually go? How far past the tower does it go?
I think it goes to the back, and it'll go like all the way through the tower, I guess.
Okay.
So depending on if you were to, say, throw your Goblin Barrel up front instead of surrounding it, and then throw the log with it, that actually might work. Ooh, they're a little behind. Oh no, but they're attacking the Skeleton Army instead.
Pretty even though still.
Yeah, the Princess really caught up in damage.
Yeah, one of the smartest things we saw there was actually fireballing the enemy Princess.
There it is!
And this is a big option.
One Goblin!
Wow.
One Goblin got a couple stabs in. That's got to be pretty good. Oh, I love this match already.
This is so good.
So great.
I love the pre-fired fireball. And here you go. So let's see if the Miner pops up. Ooh.
Oh, wow. One shot each.
Yeah.
Wow, that was almost like a zap there. That actually worked out better for better for EPRu, even though... Oh, no.
Uh-oh.
One minion survives.
Gotta play a spell alongside this Goblin Barrel.
Miner's doing work, bottom left.
Yeah, I mean, this is what we're talking about, right? The Goblin Barrel itself is actually not going to be the key card because so many resources are going to be dedicated to making sure it gets taken down. It's actually the smaller cards like the Miner, like the Minion Horde, like the Princess that's going to be doing the majority of the damage. And there we see the Minion Horde.
Let's not underrate this Minion Horde. This thing can actually take that tower down.
Wow.
It is. It's going to.
Wow.
Whoa, EPRu with the fake out.
This is the way this matchup plays out because really it's the player who can use the collection of his cards that's really going to win it. Goblin Barrel is just a part of the whole.
Yes. Wow, so we were wondering what the key play was going to be there, and it turns out the key play was Minion Horde at the river to defend against a Princess. Not something I think we would have predicted.
Yeah, Inferno Tower just being popped down just because there, and EPRu is going to take a 2-0 against Sopa.
Is looking really, really good. For a play that I hadn't really heard about until the Coronation days, has been kind of the player that has been sticking out to me in terms of like, this guy is real, right? This guy is the real
deal. He's a real person.
I mean, 3 Coronations in a row he's made the top 8, and now, slowly, I think, improving. I think he got bumped in the top 8 the first time, made it to the semifinals in the last Coronation day.
Now he's in the finals.
First time in the finals. Sopa.
Moving on up.
We didn't even see the Hog Rider in the semifinals, unfortunately, but goes from finals last time, top 4 this time. I think definitely a threat to take one of the last spots, but not today, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, let's see our first replay. Golem Lightning.
Yeah,
What's going on here?
Golem Lightning, and really the Lightning was spent to remove the Princess rather than the Inferno Tower, and that can really be credited to the fact that EPRu was able to play archers on the river and have that contribute to taking the Inferno Tower health lower, and earned them a fantastic Golem push.
Yeah, it's unfortunate those minions doubled back to fight that baby dragon. Great placement, great reaction time by EPRu to know, like, all right, Minion Horde's coming in. I needed to pull them away, and he did it very effectively. Look at this. Minion Horde, we saw it happen actually.
So great.
We saw it happen the first time. It was the Minion Horde at the river. The Princess shot them, and it wasn't very effective. Did it again the next time, a little bit better time. Again, we keep mentioning that the deck matchups are really important here. There's going to be a Golem mirror match, exactly card for card. The 2 Golem decks are identical. So that match will come down to whoever's got the better mechanical skill. And I think that probably favors EPRu because we've just seen EPRu play out of his mind. Marcel P's like S tier, but EPRu's been crazy. The question, though, is can this Minor Princess Zap Bait deck, which has never won, it's gotten to the finals a couple times, but it's never won
It's
a
gone
Coronation
second
day.
place multiple times now.
Can it get over the hump against these 2 decks that both have Zap and Log, Archers, Ice Golem, Mega Minion, like a lot of cards that are pretty decent against those sort of swarmy decks?
If you're EPRu, what deck do you think you're most comfortable with? Which one are you going to win twice with? Because again, they can pick one deck to win twice with. Best of 5. I'd
probably do Golem.
Okay.
Just feels like the best deck in the
format.
do
Golem, yeah.
I mean, the nice thing about Double
really
Deck...
well with it.
Well, here's the thing. The nice thing about Double Deck is it really tests your versatility and your experience with the deck. Even if, let's just pretend that Golem is the best deck in the format. And I think it probably is right now. I haven't seen too much to convince me otherwise, right? It's the best deck. You still have to bring a second deck, and that deck has to A, beat Golem decks, and be able to adapt against whatever the other alternate deck that comes out is.
Okay, here are our finals. Who is going to take home the $2,000 today? Will it be EPRu or Marcel P? Woo! Let us know who you think. This is crazy.
Marcel P might have been cursing that fireball in the last matchup, but he's probably real happy to have it now because it's something that counters Skeleton Army, Goblin Barrel, Minion Horde, even Princess. Princess. The tower, yeah.
We have just had 4 cards cost 3 elixir played back to back to back. These guys are ping-ponging elixir right now. Finally, do we break out of the chain? 2 elixir traded for 8. How do you punish Minion Horde Miner is probably the best way. I actually think now this is something that is interesting to think about. If that miner had been played on the bottom right corner of that tower.
Oh, wow.
The Ice Golem played to save.
But here's the thing, that was a lot of elixir that now you got to deal with this thing. Oh, he doesn't have lightning in his hand. Or he does, but he doesn't have the elixir for it. He only had 5, now he has 6.
Oh,
it's a little late for that. Yeah. So he might just let this one go down. And unfortunately, not only did Marcel P take a black eye on his left tower, but he's also behind now. He lost the 8-3 trade right there.
And he keeps taking chip damage from this princess, and I actually think that's a great way to use a princess right now.
I mean, you play it at the river, people are forced to respond, and the archers split as well.
Basically means that Mega Minion is not a troop that Marcel P can use in a push, because he has to cycle it out.
Right. Oof, and he's choosing to just take
He's just taking 500.
And I guess he feels like it's a little too late for the punish. Like he's going to take the minor damage and say, all right, probably not going to get Goblin Barrel comes
he's going to play on the left corner. Oh, he just plays it surround. Interesting. I thought it was going to be left corner.
Able to get a little bit of an elixir advantage there back. Drops the Ice Golem up front. This is a pre-counter to the Inferno Tower. The Ice Golem locks on, absorbs most of the damage, and then freezes the thing, so it takes a little bit longer to heat up again. It buys time for the lightning, which misses.
And he might be able to play Miner on the cycle. Actually, he played his Minion Horde on top of the Golems, which means that most of the minions are actually dead. Still got to play the Miner. Plays it on the left corner, or on the left bottom corner. And actually,
River Golem?
For Miner Minion Horde, which corner of the tower you play your Miner on is incredibly important. Tries to punish the Golem with the barrel. Plays the mind game this time, but the Log is very patient.
Yeah. That's the thing I'm also noticing about Log versus Zap when dealing with the Goblin Barrels. It seems like the Log is just so much better. It's so much lighter.
More of a catch-all. The only mind games you can play is on the back corner of the map. If you play it in front, the Log will roll over and kill it anyways.
The archers actually bought some time because one of them hit, and that bought a little bit of time. And the Baby Dragon, which is not getting locked on by the tower, clears out the Princess. The Skeletons are going to die to the Golem. This is getting really close. This is a pretty serious looking push here, but we have 7 seconds left.
He's going to race.
It's a base race. Oh, and he knocks it back with the Miners locked on.
He needs another spell.
Oh, it works. Oh, my God. P, just as it hits, takes the first victory here in our finals. Best of 5. What is going on?
What's really interesting is for EPRu, he actually had a Princess do 1,000+ damage on the right side tower.
Take it over.
You almost wonder if that Princess would have been better suited shooting at the Baby Dragon instead, which ended up being the point of focus, right? We talk about splitting damage on towers, and so often you get into the situation where really in that game, doing damage to the right side tower was irrelevant. Yeah. It was basically wasted resource.
Yeah. I mean, that was an example of 2 things we talked about a lot on this show. In double elixir time, no matter how far ahead you think you are,
you're not.
Those Golem decks are
great. You're not.
Golem decks can punish you in the last minute.
I was going to say, EPRu was doing a great job with defense with the Inferno Tower, and then all of a sudden, like, that didn't matter anymore. None of that mattered.
Well, credit to Marcel P for adapting. He started putting Ice Golem in front, and the very last push there, we saw there's a couple things going on. Minion Horde comes up, Baby Dragon comes down to fight the Minion Horde, Inferno Tower goes down, the Ice Golem's dead, Archers were played at the river, the Inferno Tower locks onto the first Archer, buying the Golem a little bit more time, and then the Lightning takes out the rest of it.
That was bananas.
Bananas! And also, it really proved that the last hit point is the only one that matters, because Marcel P was getting punished over and over and over again, but at the end, he only had, say, 200 health on his tower, but that was enough to survive and take that tower.
Wow.
Marcel P now up 1-0 against EPRu. Marcel P representing Red Alpha. EPRu staying with that Goblin Barrel deck.
I think something that EPRu needs to do is punish the Mega Minion drop in an attempt to punish EPRu's Princess drop. I think that's where he needs to look to invest more elixir into, is protecting his Princess.
Oh, Goblin's gonna blow up! Oh,
man, what a comp. Ice Golem with the most recent buff to its death damage, now a Zap plus Ice Golem is enough to kill Minion Horde. We saw that happen right there. Protected the bowler. Draws out an early Inferno Tower. I don't think EPRu is going to get punished for that simply because Golem decks, especially in single elixir time, are a little slow.
Oh, that's right, he's a
giant. You're right, I'm
bowler.
sorry. So maybe he can actually. He plays the giant up a little further in order to take advantage of that. And hopefully that thing's going to die.
Looks like it.
Yep.
Good timing. Good timing.
Log.
Oh, yep. Perfect timing.
Oh, Fireball.
Got some archers to back him up.
Princess is going to splash the archers. Oh, it's still going to die. He's going to play Miner after this.
Yeah, do it. Miner.
And I think he should play.
He doesn't have the elixir for it. He only has 2.
Oh, wow.
And I think the freeze effect plus the tower will be enough. He might take a little damage here. Oh, opts not to.
There's no zap for Goblin Barrel anymore.
Yeah, I think he might have just been better off taking, you know, the 100 some odd damage.
Here it comes. He's going to play Mind Games with the Goblin Barrel.
Log.
Plays it on the front.
Oh.
Fireball is not a great answer. It's, well, the fact that the Miner was there kind of justified it a little bit.
Yeah, it was 6 elixir. I think maybe Marcel P wanted to switch because if he... I actually thought he might be more comfortable playing the Golem deck twice, but I think he got out by the hair of his chinny chin chin.
He's like,
and rather, yeah, is going to play the deck with 2 spells, a bowler, and archers in order to stop all these other tricks.
Now, Marcel P's final spell is lightning?
No, and he only has 2 spells.
Oh.
But he has bowler, archers, mega minion. I think the last card is a tombstone. That is kind of pointless in this matchup because all of the plays that EPRu is looking to make are actually on the sides of the board, not in the front.
Okay.
So the best thing is either to play the tombstone in front like that to buy a little time, or even you could play it behind your tower and let the trail of skeletons kind of provide a blocker to all that other stuff.
Opts not to spend Zap. He wants to save it for the push, wants to make sure he has an option for the Inferno Tower, and so he just took a lot of damage on the left side tower. And if this push gets defended against, I think that EPRu just successfully went under.
Absolutely. He played a good cycle.
Oh, and the Princess.
Oh, and the bowler's going to knock that one away, but again, that tower's going to take a lot of damage, and he doesn't have lightning in this deck, only Zap.
And the Minion Horde means that that Giant is not long for this world.
And that's what's really struggles, that without the death damage, without the explosion, the extra Golemites, Giant has a really hard time getting around. Oh no, that River Giant might be the end of the game.
The Princess is
right
going to end the game on the left. He has to play the archers to take down the Princess, but now he has 2 archers in an irrelevant zone of the map.
So I think Marcel P lost that game with the last River Giant, the one we just saw. A 5 elixir commitment at the river, 3 elixir skeleton army right after it, kills it really quickly, puts Marcel P behind in tempo, allowing EPRu to keep dictating the tempo of the game.
He plays Bowler and Zap to stop the Goblin Barrel, wants to make sure he takes no damage on that tower, but I think that might have been his downfall.
Oh, 2.
A lightning and a log, and a fireball's gonna do it!
All right, he's just going to try to cycle now. Puts Inferno Tower defensively.
Bowler's actually got to tag onto the tower. But still, he's going down the left side, and the tower is so healthy. And he's just cycling. He's just cycling for the fireball at this point. Yep. There's so much damage on the board, by the way.
There it
Minion
is.
Horde and Skeleton Army.
So that's an interesting part, because I actually thought that deck would be better against it, but the truth is that Giant Bowler deck really, especially with no lightning, really could not get through that Inferno Tower consistently. I wonder if Marcel P switches back, and maybe if EPRu gets another win with the Goblin Barrel deck, then he just tries to win a Golem Mirror or something like that.
I like, Brandon, what you said is he used the Zap, he tried to save the Zap once, Marcel, for the Inferno Tower, so that his push would be more effective, but by doing that, he then can't Zap the Goblin Barrel and took so much damage.
He made a decision to ignore the Goblin Barrel. Yeah. Which I think was a wrong decision. I mean, there are times where you can, but it ended up being a push that just got eliminated by the defensive troops of EPRu, which is kind of the other mainstay of the deck, right? Is that you have very effective defensive cards. Skeleton Army, really great on defense. Minion Horde, really great on defense. And these cards are just, they will chew your push up, especially in combination with Inferno Tower.
You know what I didn't notice happen in that game, what we did see in some of the earlier matches? When there was an Inferno Tower, he was putting Ice Golem in front of the main Golem to absorb some time and freeze it. In that game, we didn't really see Ice Golem go in front of the Giant. I think that would have been really good, because the thing that kept killing the Giant was the Skeleton Army. So the Ice Golem goes in front, absorbs the skeleton shots, blows up on all the skeletons, and then the Giant's a little bit closer, and maybe you can use a Zap at that point.
All right. Another thing I want to also point out, in these Giant Bowler decks we're seeing as we're getting into our next game, 1-1 all tied up. Again, this is a best of 5 here in the finals. Both these guys one step closer to $2,000 and that ticket to move on to the arena duels. So is when people choose to play either Bowler first behind their King Tower, or then Giant first behind their King Tower, what would you suggest? Is there a difference? Does it end up being the same in the end?
Giant is going to lead to bigger, stronger pushes because you got your tank all the way in the back and whatever, but it also leaves you far more open to punishes. The nice thing about the bowler is that if they can't really go down that lane because the bowler will defend it, right?
Yeah.
Whereas you just went down to 5 elixir behind your lane. Let's see how long they're going to stall again. Again, you're right. Maybe Marcel P just has a rule that he never ever plays first.
Well,
so if he comes up
yeah.
against anyone else who feels the same way,
Here we go.
Yep, stalemate.
Overtime, a draw, an 8-minute draw.
Well, someone played.
The only thing I've
Did
seen
he play
Marcel
first
P
last?
willing to play was Ice Golem.
Yeah, in that last game.
Yeah.
He played it first, so we'll see
Yeah,
here.
and then he lost. So maybe he's like, not doing it again.
we don't know actually which decks they're running here. Both of them.
Good luck.
They're actually tied 1-1, right? So we're kind of starting a best of 3 now with
Yeah.
each win for each deck. So either person could switch around, play whatever.
While we're
Guys,
doing
I want to
this,
see.
while we're doing this, taking this time, guys, you could be like these players right now. Look at them, just sitting here, one step close from $2,000. Go to ClashRoyaleOpen.com where you can sign up for our remaining Coronation
This
days.
is a legendary moment in Clash Royale history.
You know what this comes down to, though? And this is something is that these decks, I mean, defense is so good in Clash Royale.
Yes.
You can't just attack. And that's, I think, something that is almost to the detriment of competitive Clash Royale sometimes. Is I think you want to encourage people just to be able to jam out troops at the river and try to be able to take something, but they both know that defending is so powerful. If you ever make a mistake, you're
Already down.
You're done.
I would actually
That's
argue
kind of
that
what happened last time.
yes, when it hits double elixir, I would argue that it's
fine.
actually much
Game's
safer
on.
to play
Yeah.
your first card because you regain that elixir so quick that it's actually really difficult for your opponent to punish a 2 elixir drop.
Correct.
Almost impossible to punish a 1 elixir drop.
Here they go. They won double elixir time. Supercell, please give us a double elixir challenge.
There we go.
King's Cup challenge with double elixir. That'd be fun. Okay, we got Giant Bowler coming down the left side, and the Golem's gonna meet him.
EPRu has swapped up his decks.
Oh, so there's no Inferno Tower in this Golem deck. This is straight up tank on tank battles.
Oh, wow.
Woo!
Boink. Oh, and it did hit
Big fireball.
It did end up hitting the Baby Dragon, but I think the Megamine at the river intercepted it.
Battleship Cruiser Galactic 7.
Poink. 3 hits. Doink. Oh, gotta be pretty happy with that. Now he's just gotta make sure he doesn't take damage on the counter push, but it looks like that Golem's gonna get real close.
Ooh, doesn't quite get the death damage onto the tower,
2
but
baby
double
dragons.
dragon, not
Oh,
in the
the
way that you have imagined
Get
previously.
it. Megaminion did not lock on.
Still, we're already in overtime, but
That's crazy.
EPRu was not able to do any damage to the tower. However, this is heavily favoring EPRu because he's playing the Golem deck in overtime now.
They might take their free draw, their free draw here in this first game, just only because there's only 3 minutes left in the match.
Yeah.
We'll see how much damage can pump
I
out
think,
here.
I think this is smart here. Try to defend, try to kill
Oh,
those
that
baby
Golem
dragons.
is making it to the tower.
Wow.
Look how healthy it is, and the
So
Ice Golem is
strong.
tanking for it.
Oh, you're
This
right.
Golem is doing a ton of damage.
And a log's gonna come down and kill those archers, I think.
Oh, yikes.
I don't think that fireballing the tombstone was the right idea.
Yeah,
Man,
this really
so
hurts.
much
Look at how much
damage.
damage that is.
no.
There is actually a world where you can just lightning that tower down at this point.
Yeah, you're right.
Spells like, and he even has Mega Minion and Ice Golem coming up to his support.
Oh, give it the hug. Give it the hug.
Do it! Hug him! Hug him! Oh, just like that.
Yeah, Marcel P knows he needs to make something happen now, so he plays a River Giant with a bullet to help. But again, almost halfway defending this is probably the go-to option for EPRu. Let that Giant get a few swings, and just play your Golem, play a log, play the Lightning, and the game's yours.
We see how unfortunate it is that the bowler gets turned around. Like, it doesn't do a lot of damage. We've actually seen a lot of success out of the giant Mega Minion at the river. I'm surprised we don't see a little more of that. He uses the lightning, and
There it is.
overtime.
Wow, we were thinking it was going into an overtime. EPRu is like, no, I'm putting on the NOS here, picking up game number 3 here
Yes.
in our best of 5. So he's got 2 wins. He now is one step closer. $2,000.
I'm actually really happy, despite the fact that these players are playing in the way that they are, because I think that these players are players who respect the competitive nature of the game, right? They know
how crucial each
it is. They're now playing at that tip-top slight 0.1%.
Bobby Fischer.
Who won? Okay, so EPRu, did he win with his Goblin Barrel deck yet?
He did in the second game.
Okay.
So he's won one.
So what's
He
with
has
this
the
now?
option for
To do
either deck, which puts him in a really good strategic position because Marcel
Yeah.
P cannot predict what he's going to play.
Okay.
So I don't know.
What does Marcel P have to play?
Marcel P has the option of either.
Oh, okay.
Actually, both of them have the option of either here, so we're going into game 4.
Right.
EPRu has won once each with each deck, but because of the best of 5, he can win a second time with one of the 2
Yeah,
decks.
okay.
And with the 1 win each, What does Marcel P prepare for?
Well,
Marcel P would prefer that one of these decks had won twice, because then he can pick the better
But
deck.
here's the thing, though. So since I would argue that EPRu should bring the Golem just because you know Marcel P waits and waits and waits, and the closer you get to double elixir, the bigger advantage you have.
Definitely
That's probably
smart.
correct.
Definitely smart.
And so then if you know that's going to happen, Marcel P should probably switch back to his Golem deck. Don't
Just-
play
yeah,
Giant
ju-
Bowler.
just-
Don't do it,
second
Marcel
win.
P. Don't do it.
All right.
Oh, and he switches to Goblin Barrel, maybe knowing that maybe taking advantage of that.
There's no more log. They're already log is off the table. Marcel P had been so disciplined about playing Mega Minion as his answer, and that might actually be the play that offsets the line of play enough that.
Splitting archers is so good though in this matchup because you have an archer on each side. You can defend against anything. A Goblin Barrel or Miner comes up either way. You've got some support.
It's interesting. It's actually back and forth because I don't think EPRu actually started with a Goblin Barrel either.
Oh, good call.
So the fact that there was only the log to answer the Princess, I don't think EPRu could have really punished them for it.
I wonder if the Tombstone would be better
There it
here up
is.
front.
Oh,
Yeah.
mate.
Because the Tombstone behind the tower would create a chain of skeletons that you either have to fireball before you attack, which prevents you from killing the archers, or the Miner gets caught up on it sometimes.
I like that.
Oh, we got the Golem. Now we've already seen the Golem deck win against this deck, so we just got to do it again. But then he's got to win with that Giant Bowler deck if it happens. That game was so close the first time, though.
Yeah. Gotta go back and watch that one here.
Ooh, and the Golem, he knows there's an Inferno Tower, so he's prepared for it. That Inferno Tower can't just be flopped down without a... Oh, and it's locked on the
Baby Dragon gets it like a boss. Just flies right in the way of Ice Golem. I got you, bro.
And I don't think he actually will need to zap it or lightning it. I think he's just going to let it happen because the one archer supporting...
Wow. Where's that B? Golem's making it.
Sends in the cavalry to try to get some damage on that tower. Oh, and it pulls it back. What a Miner play.
Oh, it's like, why in the world
And
did
there's
he
no
do
log.
that?
There's no log in hand. These Goblin Barrels are going to town.
Wow. Oh, that's a tower gone right there. EPRu.
Expert positioning on the Miner.
That's why you like that
incredible.
Goblin Barrel.
That's why I love me some Goblin Barrel. There are actually so many. We have not seen all the Miner possibilities to be played, actually.
Right.
And some of them, that one was particularly effective, and some of them I think would have been effective for EPRu in different situations as well.
Let's not write it off yet here because that tower is a lightning and a long way
it's
from
so
dying
close.
no matter what.
And then we're already in double elixir, so Golem starts having a pretty good advantage. But both of these players...
Wow, look at the swarms.
You're gonna log, but Goblin Barrel can come out soon.
You're right.
And the Minion Horde's still
There it
alive.
It is.
Wow.
But when there's two towers activated,
There's
it's
that
actually
tombstone.
very hard to justify. Gets a few good pokes off.
All right, there's the
Oh,
lightning.
that's not.
He wants to defend. I think he's on the total defense play right now. So the reason why he does that is like, all right, I have an opportunity to spend 6 elixir and not get immediately punished. So let me just get it out of my hand. Now I know I can log with 2 seconds left or whatever to put the game to overtime. Just don't die before then.
In this situation, almost exclusively, EPRu must play Goblin Barrel with Miner, otherwise it will be incredibly ineffective.
And the Ice Golem there is getting a good counter there. Why? Ooh, lightning again. Oh, because he had the log. I see what you're saying. He doesn't have the option to do it. Ice Golem, great prediction. EPRu makes a slight mistake by playing the exact same placement on his Miner twice in a row.
Princess is getting so close to splashing the tower.
Oh, not quite, though. Golem Barrel out
I think
again.
log is
He's
cycled.
got log.
No,
The
he doesn't.
downside is Marcel P's deck can't cycle nearly as fast. He's doing the best he can.
The spells are really wearing away at
Center
Marcel
gold?
P.
No, can't.
Miner Fireball is really what's doing the majority of the damage right now. Everything else is just smoke in the mirrors.
Here's the thing, too. EPRu is doing a good job not even allowing Marcel P to play the Golem, and now the Golem's out, so let's see if he can get punished for it.
Yeah, he's getting punished hard right now. Log is going to come down,
one
but the minion is still
minion.
doing
Oh,
some
that
damage.
Oh, EPRu! Just a fireball away from $2,000! Actually, it looks like the Princess did it, and that is going to be a 3-1 victory here in the finals. Coronation Day number 10. We are crowning the champion of EPRu. Congratulations, sir.
Wow.
Marcel P, we'll see you again.
See you
Think about this.
not tomorrow, the next.
That was 2 of our most consistent performers. EPRu has made his 3rd
In a
top
row.
8 in a row and goes top 8, top 4, win. Marcel P has made more top 8s. He's made more finals than other people have made top 8. This is his 3rd time finishing second. Dude, he's made more money than our winners.
The winners, yeah.
You know, he's made more
500,
money than
500,
Gilgamesh,
500.
Swood, like all these other people who've won. He's made over like...
Yep, Marcel P. Probably. I mean, again.
I mean, at least he's making a bunch
You
of
can't
money.
be super happy because you didn't win, but you are. He is doing a fantastic job. He's doing very consistent
again,
work
buddy.
here. We'll see you again, I'm sure. But let's go ahead and pull the replay of our final match here at Coronation Day number 10. What a game, Goblin Barrel.
I'm so pleased with the competitive level of games that we saw today. I think Marcel P and EPRu definitely demonstrated some of the highest potential that the current meta in Clash Royale has to offer. There's so many just interesting interactions that were played through. I mean, take a look at this big golem push that EPRu put together in I believe, the second game or the third game. Just really good timing on log, just in general playing cards effectively. And really it's just looking for those small little differences. Timing is so important at this level.
So do you think it was the cycling in that end game that got Marcel?
I mean, I think Marcel knew that at some point he was going to have to cast a golem, and he just did his best to defend, try to get one out. But when he did, EPRu read the game correctly, went in for the punish, and really took it down there. And those, wow, some of those, especially that last one we just saw, those. EPRu had a great advantage of knowing exactly what was in the cycle. I bet you, like, in his head, all 8 cards in his opponent's decks were, like, in order. So he knows exactly what's not in the hand right there. Yeah, we always see, like, can you see 1 move ahead, 2 moves ahead? Well, he's seeing at least 4 moves ahead because he's getting the log out of the hand. And then when the log is out, then play Skeleton Army. Once the Fireball's out, well, now here comes the Minion Horde, and you don't have something to play against it. And it was... Princess was the MVP, Miner was really good, and... Worth mentioning, both finalists ran Fireball to great effect after not really seeing Fireball for a while.
So there we have a Goblin Barrel now also being the first, now a victory for the Clash Royale North America. Randy's happy, he's retiring.
Let's take a look at this bracket. Walk us through the journey, the epic journey of EPRu that we saw today. Well, like, look at that. That's
shout out to Marcel, the only person who even took a game off him.
Yeah, seriously, Marcel P.
Well, again, Middle Sky did.
Well, again, these guys.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, my bad.
These guys are the top right now. I mean, Marcel P. and EPRu both doing things that I can't even dream of doing in these games. These are the top players, as you were saying, Rainey, in the tournament scene right now. So, fantastic plays. But yeah, what the story of the day, a quick recap for anyone who is just either tuning in now or wants a quick little refresher.
I think it's super appropriate that Marcel P. happens to be playing the most understood meta decks right now, Giant Bowler and Golem Baby Dragon. And EPRu comes up with a Golem deck just to make sure that he has one deck that is solid, and then playing the Miner Cycle that I believe to be so powerful in the current meta, but yet to be proven not having won an actual Coronation Day, and he makes it happen. Yeah. And really, that to me is a story.
The skill cap on that deck is through the roof. Like, you cannot be... Like, for example, I think I'm a good strategic player. I'm a good deck building player, but I'm not a real good mechanical player. Like, I'm not very precise. I don't have really great reaction times. I think that I can get away with playing something like Golem or Giant Bowler because they're much more about getting your things in order and getting a big push together. I could never in a million years win a tournament with that Goblin Barrel deck. That takes players with skill whose, like, mechanical skill is... you know, next level, like, just doing everything.
Predicting the future. He literally just saw the future right there.
The tile he played that Miner on the Mega Minion was so exact.
Yeah, pulling it back. That was
amazing. It's not just placement, but it's also the timing, right? Because the Mega Minion is constantly moving. You have to hit the right tile at the right time.
That was one of the most, like, next level plays that you're never going to see. Yeah. You could watch 100 games of Clash Royale and not see something of that precise skill.
Well done.
And EPRu, congratulations on winning, but we're also not going to see you again.
That's right.
Yes.
That is
Bummer.
it.
Until the arena battle.
Darn, he won $2,000. He doesn't have to play through that whole day again. But, you know, he got $2,000, and now he has a chance to move on to the Crown Duels.
Woo!
And if you want to be like EPRu, go to ClashRoyaleOpen.com, sign up. Yeah. Because why not?
That's right. That was Coronation Day number 10. 6 more to go. Our next broadcast is going to be on Wednesday at 6 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and after that, Thursday. And again, then Sunday, Mondays also at 6 p.m. Those Thursdays, 8 o'clock p.m. We only have 6 more to go, guys. We are well past the halfway point, and it's been so cool. Again, just from the journey from the beginning, we've seen the Expo starting out where everyone has an Expo deck, and then a little bit more variety, and then Totem variety. Now we have the new Golem deck. That's the new, right? That's the new one. And now we see a Goblin Barrel coming in. It's amazing to see what these players can do with just 8 cards in their hand.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Any final thoughts now before we wrap it up for Coronation Day number 10?
It's almost Rainey's birthday.
It's almost my birthday.
That's why the Goblin Barrels won.
Yeah, that's right. Well
I think now the response in the meta to stop Goblin Barrel is going to be people bring 4 spells. Log and
all spell decks.
Zap was not enough.
Here's the thing.
I'm going to bring Arrows, Log, Zap.
Yeah.
fireball.
I ran an all-spell deck and I lost against a trainer, so I don't think that's
Yeah.
going to happen.
Probably don't bring that.
I think Goblin Barrel's never actually truly going to become a consistent deck in the meta because it requires like generational talent to play it very, very well.
Yeah.
And woo, I mean, I'm glad it won. Like, I wish we on that board we could say, you know, the Giant Bowler is one, the Golem. Every time a new deck wins, we put a little plaque up on the wall.
We'll work on that. We'll hopefully work on that before the next show.
I don't think we'll see another player like EPRu in the rest of the Coronation days. That was incredible.
Right.
Well, congratulations to you, EPRu, taking home $2,000. And moving on, well, that's going to do it here for us at Coronation Day number 10. On behalf of everyone here at NGE Studios in beautiful Burbank, California, this is the official Supercell Clash Royale North American Opens. That is Rumham. This is Rainey.
I'm Ella.
I have a legendary.
Have a most ridiculous night.
Good night. All right, Rumham.
Goblin Bear one more time.
I need to build